predictions are at the end of the day. There's a little bit of logic in there, but with EU in particular, it's so hard to know which team is going to win as we start off game 1 of the Copa de Rocket League regional. And I'm so excited to see not only this matchup here, but how the rest of the event goes on and who makes that major. 2 teams here today who are going to be competing for that.
Who makes the major and who makes Worlds as well. As Cash was alluding to in his pre-match interview, this is the point where literally every single game can have so many ramifications. If you win it, you go into that upper bracket, you get a few more points, you make the major, that just begins this snowball. And then next thing you know, you are there at Worlds in front of literally everybody, the whole Rocket League community going crazy. That is what's going to be at the forefront of these players' minds. But, Greg, I mean, you've coached. Are they thinking about that, or are they always just thinking one match at a time?
Yeah, I mean, at this stage of a tournament, you do have to think one match at a time because it's such a long format, especially if you find yourself in that lower bracket. And I think we've certainly seen with teams like Luminosity Gaming, they've had a tough old run in these tournaments, and that will definitely have hardened them up for these tournaments. But, you know, Misfits have gone through that upper bracket, felt how much that benefits them. They're going to be really thinking, we need to make it there, otherwise we're going to be having a long old journey. But every team in this format wants to make that first in the groups, and this group is definitely one of the toughest ones. Also BDS alongside these 2 teams in the group.
There was a lovely trade right there, and a double as well, where one demo comes in from Luminosity, then Misfits respond with 2 more of their own, just to make it clear that they're not going to be bullied off this ball and they will fight back. I think this game is already sort of fitting into the sort of flow that we expected, where Misfits, they want to take as much control of the ball as possible, slow things down, have it on their roof, go solo, follow up neat and tidily, whereas their opponents, Luminosity, they want shock and awe. They want to make sure that Misfits have as little calmness as is humanly possible as they charge forward and try to shock them.
Yeah, Luminosity are a really hard team to break down. So those demos, I like seeing those because they structure themselves so well. Each one of these players individually able to defend 1v2 so well. And then you see how they cover behind each other. Just their Tox knowing that if the ball goes over him, he's got a player behind him. And that's consistent with Luminosity Gaming's defense. You see it again there. Ixo going up, not fully committing, knowing that Atomic was behind him. And it really allows him to gain control of the possession. Tox just sending it high, but it sets up a shot for Atomic. Comes in, pinpoint accuracy. LG go ahead.
Now, did Tox mean that as a pass? I'll let you guys decide. But one way or another, it did fall to Atomic. And what a pickup that man has been. Luminosity have looked so much better since bringing him in. He was, you know, he was the star player for Queso last season. And he has continued to look like he has that ability right now for Luminosity. And this is the team as well, as Tox goes up and maybe makes it 2-0. Ooh, it's been tough to really know what they can do in a lower bracket because they keep coming up against Dignitas.
Yeah, they've had tough journeys. The first event, they lost to BDS narrowly in the group stage, then faced Dignitas first round in the lower bracket. And then this event, the second regional, they lost in groups, unfortunately to Guild, which was definitely on them, and also lost to BDS, which put them down to the lower bracket, and they faced Dignitas after a few rounds. So they've had tough journeys. First event, less so on them, more so on Dignitas. Second event, more so on them. So now they've really got to put it into their own control, win that group stage, and try and find themselves in the upper bracket. And they've started strong with this first game, looking very solid.
60 points currently separate these 2 teams in the overall winter rankings, but it's 1 goal that separates them with 1 minute and 50 seconds left, and Misfits trying to get that equalizer as Matane comes into the backboard, coming to the business end of this first game. Ixo and Tox getting each other's way, but somehow Ixo manages to recover, and suddenly it's 1v1. Atomic goes out wide. Didn't really want to commit too much to the 50-50, let his team in a bit of danger. Trying to slow things down instead, but a good little turnaround there for Luminosity when it just looked like Misfits were putting them in trouble.
Yeah, looking to keep control of it. You saw Atomic taking it to the corner, collecting boost, putting it in a position where his team was behind him. And again, that's the whole thing about Luminosity Gaming's structure, is they waste time so that they can have teammates rotating in behind. You saw it again there, Atomic wasting time, allowed Ixo to rotate back. The moment Atomic got taken out of the game, Ixo was there to cover. That's the key to these guys' game plan. It does often mean they lack in risk-taking because they're very controlled in the way they rotate, but they're so hard to break down, and that's going to be a real challenge for Misfits here.
Yeah, you can see it now. Even Cash chucking in these flip resets. It's only being blocked. Dogged defending right now from Luminosity, but Misfits are going to keep coming. Is Cash, does he go for the flip reset? No, instead it's a touch to the backboard. Matane is there. The shot, though, is so weak. It's not good enough, is it?
Yeah, I mean, Matane has been gifted a goal there through a mistake. That's the problem with these kind of playstyles. If you keep taking hits over and over again, all it takes is one mistake. But equally, a mistake from Matane led to them not scoring. Oh, and that could be their only chance for the rest of this game. 30 seconds left. Misfits are going to chuck everything they've got at this game. because you do not want to start on the wrong foot against Luminosity Gaming, because they can hold out a whole series without conceding a single goal, as you can see right here.
It's got to be now. There's the thing from Mitane. Atomic's up, and he's just slowing it down so well. Luminosity doing everything they can to frustrate Misfits. But we know they've got the skills to get past this Luminosity defense, but it's just not working for them. Good defending from Luminosity. One more chance maybe as the ball rolls around the backboard. Atomic maybe can put this ball down. He manages to do it, and that, Gregan, is tremendous game management from Luminosity.
Yeah, if you look through the history of Luminosity's games, they do often win a 1-0 slugfest. They get that goal early on, whether it be a mistake, whether it be good breakdown, and then when they get there, they're so hard to score against. Very similar to that of BDS. You know, BDS are a team that once they go ahead, they rotate in a way that is so hard to get past. But I think Misfits still got a lot to give here. You know, we're coming off of the last event where they were on boot camp and they were playing like a whole different team. And so we've got to see them now. Now that they're back home, can they perform at that same level? That's the real questions. But Orb, what else has been happening while we've been watching that game?
I've been trying to jump around some of the streams, seeing what's going on. As you can imagine, there's a lot of games going on at the same time. Some of them are slow, a little bit slow to the start. We had Dignitas just now winning. I believe they won 3-1 over Rix. Endpoint versus Navi, currently 0-0, getting into the last 90 seconds or so of the match. Vitality is up 3-0 against 00 Nation. Wow. I don't know if people expected that one. Cole, I know you're a big Vitality fan, right?
You've thrown me under the bus there slightly, Orb. I defended Vitality for such a long time, and recently I've just got a little bit annoyed at them. You know, I can see on the pitch, it seems like they've somewhat not given up, but they're just not that same formidable beast that they once were. But I mean, 00 Nation have had some famous victories against Vitality, back when Vitality were still this feared team. So, you know, if they're starting to revert things, then a win against 00 Nation would give them a very good start. But Gregan, speaking of very good starts, Luminosity Gaming, for them in that first game, the game plan just worked to perfection.
Yeah, I mean, we look at them as a team, and even before they signed Atomic, they were a very defensive team, very structure-based. When they were SK back in even RLCS X, they were hard to score against. They took a lot of pressure on, and it worked well. But then obviously when you come up against a team like a Queso or a Dignitas who are firing on all cylinders and have the ability to create goals out of nowhere, you know, multiple stringed mechanics together, they can break through it. And I think that's what we need to see from Misfits right here. But that
do you remember when
quite lucky there.
Cash? Do you remember when Cash was there? Oh, okay. I thought it was an own goal. I thought that was just Arju who just bumped it all the way towards his own goal. All right, I retract what was going to be a right old shout at Misfits right there, because it actually was a good finish, a proper finish in the end there from Ixo. But not the sort of goal still that Misfits would want to concede. Even so, it still is a freebie, even if it wasn't an own goal. And again, it's more awkward defending from Misfits. For all that Cash was talking about improving their defense, and that was why I rooted for them in this series. I backed them based on that statement. It's not really happening right here. Look at Mitane here on the near post, looking a little bit awkward. He's done well to dig out a pass for Cash, who's for once missed his flip reset. Maybe he's faked it, trying to let Mitane in. But one way or another right now, things just aren't working out for Misfits. And they have history. They did this at the end of the full split as well. In that third regional, they are expected to qualify for the full major, and they went 0-3 in the Swiss. So this is a team that has bottling it in their blood, and they are desperate, and they have been desperate since this split started to prove that that was a one-off. That will not happen again. But we're going to need a goal very soon in this first series of this tournament to prove that that's not going to be the case yet again. Can Cash make it happen? He's up against Tox. He's fallen into the center for Mitane. But all these passes just going nowhere. Misfits prodding, but not really getting anywhere with it. And Luminosity's so happy to soak up this pressure. The big booming clearances are only going to a team in blue right now, but that miss from Ixo might open things up a little bit. But again, it's just good patience from Atomic.
Yeah, we need to see a little bit more challenge game here from Misfits. You see the 50-50s going in favor of Luminosity. Oh, it's a missed opportunity for Atomic. Oh, that's an open net miss, but thankfully for them, they're so hard to score on that, you know, that might not come back to bite them, as they did get that early lucky goal from Ixo. I say lucky, it was a strong challenge from him, but to go all the way in, definitely a little bit of fortune in that. But yeah, we need to see Misfits winning those challenges. Right now, they're trying to outplay and beat the players. And like I said before, Luminosity Gaming's structure is encouraging that. If you beat the first person, there's someone behind it. If you beat that person, there's someone behind that.
Oh, there you go, Greg, and that's what you need. Just beating your opponents to the ball, having the clean shots. Cash is the man they required, and he stepped up.
Yeah, all solo there from Cash. Self-set up off the corner, just faster than anyone to the ball. Booms that towards the net. A great angle from him. We do need to see Cash sometimes step up to really bring this team to light. We saw it against Guild in that Game 7 almost reverse sweep. Cash came in and scored one of the best goals of the tournament. He knows how to step up in those hype moments. And unfortunately for Misfits, if they do want to go on and make that major, they need more than just a pop-off performance from Cash. We need all the players to step up here.
Yeah, he does play with passion, which can be for him or against him. There it was for him, but he's now got some defending to do. Atomic's coming in. He's put it off target yet again. Arju at that near post, just sending it towards the center where Tox was waiting. This touch wasn't ideal, which means that Metane can air dribble things away. Now, they missed as well. It's a slightly shaky series. These two teams have such brilliant mechanics, but we're not really seeing it here. It's a slightly scrappy Game 2 here on Forbidden Temple, and we're just waiting for one of these players to take the game by the scruff of the neck. Cash has looked most likely so far. Also most likely to break up Luminosity gaming with those off-the-ball runs and bumps and demos. So far, his team haven't done too much with it. Maybe Arju can change that. He fakes a flip reset and puts Misfits in the lead.
Fantastic decision there to fake that. You see Cash is winning that interaction, that 50-50, sends it middle, puts Arju in a point-blank range where he can try and test the defense. Atomic expecting the harder shot, pre-jumps it, and it's the slow shot instead. Unpredictability is so key here for Misfits, as Luminosity have such a good read of the game, but as we mentioned, they struggle against teams that make unpredictable decisions and break them down in that way. Fantastic play from Misfits as we see them go up for the first time.
I mean, Cash is bringing that unpredictability. Look, he's going for more bumps and demos. A brilliant save from Ixo when he was left completely isolated, but the reason for that was that Cash was causing pandemonium on the Luminosity gaming half. And they're trying to get themselves back involved in the play, but suddenly Misfits looking more like the team we wanted. They're going for these flip resets, and now they're starting to get the space to actually connect with them or fake them.
Yeah, looking to take control off of some strong challenges. You see there again, Arju getting that ball to Cash. That's what you want to do. You want to gift the ball to a teammate. Take players out of the game, gift the ball to a teammate. And you see here, I'm trying it again, but intercepted. Metane, though, the fantastic thing about Metane's pass right there is how he didn't take himself out the game, put Cash in a favorable position potentially, and then was back almost instantly. That's how these guys have got to play.
I want to see a little bit more from Luminosity Gaming right now, though. I mean, we see them as a team that can surprise their opponents. Suddenly they can turn it on and shock them and turn into this ultra-aggressive unit that they haven't been playing like that this whole series. And they still seem pretty languid right now. They seem content to try and defend and make sure Misfits can't cause too much damage to them, as opposed to chasing the game themselves and trying to really take the initiative. Maybe Atomic will be the player to change that as he goes up the wall, but Metane is up nice and early. Touch towards Tox, which is, I thought was a bit poor, but actually getting the second touch was really effective. Is anybody arriving here? It's Cash up against Atomic. Cash slows things down, but as far as Ixo, 10 seconds left. Tox is so far away from the play, but it does give him momentum to go for it. Ixo has a chance, but can't quite get the finish. Atomic's coming in, but it's over. Now Tox just has to agonizingly watch it fall to become 1-all in this series.
A few missed shots from Atomic in that series. A very close game in the end, but it was the execution from Misfits in that final shot that led them to that victory. A great shot from Cash and a good fake from Arju in that flip reset led them to scoring those goals. And we look back at that missed opportunity from Atomic on the open net. That's come back to bite them as we see the scoreline being 2-1 in favor of Misfits there, equalizing the series. But there are other series going on at the same time. We love to hear the updates. What else is happening in the Copa de Rocket League Regional 3?
That is right, Greg. And there are more games going on. Beautiful segue. I've been watching BDS 1 Game 1 here over Cookster's Minions.
Look at that satisfied sip from Greg, and can I just
right now, of course, he should be. He's an entertainer at heart. No, but yeah, so BDS 1 Game 1, but now they were down 3-0 in game number 2 after, I think it was there was a kickoff goal, yes. And then Queso, they won their first game. They're currently down 1 goal against Guild in game number 2. And Semper lost their first game against Williams Bristol. So those are some of the updates. But I think the most surprising one is kind of Cookster's Minions now. 4-1 responding here in their game against BDS.
Against BDS?
Wow. In game 2.
Get on, Cookster's Minions. I think every single event so far in this split, they've qualified in the 5th match of the Swiss. So that's a team that love to go to battle. They do not mind those long days, Greg, in which you talk about so much, which I think we as casters, as in we being, not you as a former coach, but the rest of us, often forget that these days are incredibly long and the standard can drop as players get tired because they are human. But we're at the early start of today. And already the flip resets are coming out, the assists coming in from Misfits, and they look so much more comfortable right now, don't they?
Yeah, Misfits are playing to win, where it seems like Luminosity are playing not to lose. You know, they're trying not to concede. They're playing things safe. Whenever they get an opportunity to score on net, they're slowing things down to try and make sure they get the execution. And that's just allowing Misfits to get back and defend. They need to be confident playing those shots at speed. Right now, they're second-guessing themselves a lot, but you know, after every game you lose, you definitely come back and reset the mental. So we'll see if they come into this game with a slightly different attitude, maybe a bit more of a confident attitude to try and create some goals.
Remember how important finishing first in can be. A group which contains BDS and apparently Cooks' minions, who are taking BDS to the limits of themselves in that second game at least. So if they can escape either of these teams in that upper bracket, you guarantee yourself a few more points at the very least, not to mention another life. And that starts with this first series. As Matane comes in and loses the race to Tox. Atomic's going on. He tries the quick shot up against Arju, who saw it coming. Good defending in the end. That was a nice idea. And now we see Luminosity Gaming start to change their approach. They're going for longer shots. They're going for passes. They're not just sitting back. Like, that transition was interrupted by Matane, but at least they were going for something a little bit different than just the boomer ball.
Yeah, they're bringing out a bit more creativity here, and I think that's the key.
That's tough. As soon as we're praising them for mixing it up, they just fall into the Misfits trap, and it's 1-0 Misfits.
Yeah, they're all just getting a little bit too drawn in. Cash just taking the sting out of that ball, staying close to it, forcing a second 50-50, pops it out middle, and that'll be an easy finish for Arju. It's things like that people don't appreciate from a player like Cash. You know, he's so well known for those amazing solo plays that he goes for. In this case, Atomic with the 1v1, these guys love to shut us up and say, look at me, I'm also a top player. Atomic coming in, the delayed ground shot, catching Matane flat-footed.
It's just like raw pace in both those first two goals. The first one, it was Cash, who pretty much bounced off that wall and found himself immediately back in the play before anybody really expected him to be so. And then there, the second goal, it was just pace. You know, Matane didn't anticipate Atomic going for that quick shot. It was mechanically pretty easy, but the speed of thought was very, very high there from Luminosity Gaming, a team who, you know, I was saying was starting to look a little bit slow. Now the pace is right there. Atomic with the crossbar shot again. He could have had 5 or 6 goals this series.
Yeah, his shooting just been a little bit too high this game, but, you know, at least he's taking those shots. You know, that is a situation where they could have scored had that shot been on target. And if you don't take that shot, then that's when you start to see...
Oh, don't get dunked. Get dunked if you're a defender. It doesn't matter if you have to put the ball backwards or sideways or even towards an opponent. Just don't do this. The one place you should not put that ball, correct me if I'm wrong, Gregan, is into the approaching attacker so it bounces back towards your goal.
Yeah, you got to respect Cash, though, staying close to that ball after the outplay. But you did see Atomic jumping a little bit too early, and it limited his options drastically. So Cash was able to read that and cut off as many angles as possible. Again, though, both the goals from Misfits here have come from Cash winning 50-50s, winning interactions, and sending it into an awkward position for the opposition. This is what is so key about Cash's gameplay. It's not just about these fancy solo plays, flip reset, backboard double touches, all that kind of stuff. He wins 50-50s and puts the ball in favorable positions for his teammates.
He changed the approach as well. Like, he could have gone for a pretty basic infield pass there, but instead he opts to go for a slightly harsher angle onto the backboard, which Luminosity dealt with well, but it just made them keep thinking. You can never stop thinking when it's there. Even here, the 50-50, it falls to Arju, who peppers that Luminosity Gaming net. Now he puts in the pass. It should have been in. It's another miss. The shooting hasn't been great this series, but some of the approach play has been stunning. Now Arju shows what he can do. He goes to the backboard. Here's the follow-up from Cash, saved well by Luminosity Gaming, at least for now.
Oh, the pressure. Keep it on, Misfits. Ixo getting it away, but such good defense from Luminosity in the end.
Well played there from Luminosity Gaming. Yeah, Ixo with a really important second touch off the wall as well. Not easy to read that one and get so much power, but look at Misfits' mechanics. Such a good team when they get going, when they get rolling, when they get passing, when they get shooting. Into the top corner, it's Misfits and it's 3-1.
Shooting's not been quite on this series, but there is one player on the pitch you can rely on to mechanically execute, and it's that man there, Cash. Sends it top corner, couldn't have been more accurate, and he gets the team ahead by 2. 3-1 now, Misfits. The series now looking very in favor of Misfits, as they're just getting hotter and hotter, while Luminosity are still behind on the execution.
This match is in the palm of Misfits' hands. They've still got a couple of games that they need, but they just look better than their opponents, more creative with more in the tank, and they have Cash as well, who is just pulling the strings. Couple of goals in this game. Still, as Cash comes forwards yet again, and Luminosity have to do more defending. Cash takes out Tox. That opens things up. Matane finds himself bouncing off the ceiling with that dodge. He was able to use it pretty well, but sadly for him, it did confuse his teammate as much as the opponents, but Cash is just still winning these races. Matane up against Atomic, more desperate defending for Luminosity. How do they break free from this?
I mean, they just need to get a hold of Cash's decision-making. Every single decision he's making is working in favor of Misfits. They need to start blocking him, start beating him to the ball, take him out of the game, but Cash is just playing the space so well. You see how he backs off from where the play is so that he can come in at the right time once he's got a read on it. You see again just there, just chilling off the ball, waiting for that right moment to come in, and then goes for it, allowing his teammates to keep disrupting the play. And at the moment, Luminosity just don't have an answer to Cash.
Well, this is where they have to score. Tox, maybe if he'd have stayed there, he could have got a doink or a bump or something. But his instinct, even with 15 seconds left, is to rotate out. And they need more pressure than that. You know, they need to really turn the screw, and they have these even quarter opportunities when you're in need of 2 goals with 12 seconds left. It's just not attacking enough, not aggressive enough, not confident enough. And I mean, you can see why they're not confident. Misfits, they are playing so well now, and they are so close to giving them the best chance of finishing top of their group.
You just got to put your hands up in the air and go, how do we beat this Cash fella? He just keeps winning every challenge, taking us out the play. I don't know, do they need to fake challenge more? Maybe, but then that's what they were doing at the start, and it was getting them possession, but they weren't breaking the opponent down, and that's the key right here, is they need to find ways to take 1, 2, 3 players out the game with a single play or a single passage of play. That's where Misfits are just the better team right now, and that's why they're scoring 3 goals a game as opposed to that 1 goal a game we've seen Luminosity be able to reach.
Gregan, you mentioned 3 goals. What if I told you Karma versus EG, their game 3 just ended 7-2. So
Blimey. In favor of Carmine?
In favor of EG. In favor of EG.
Oh, wow.
Okay. Yep.
EG.
In favor of
Okay.
EG. We had Empo versus Navi. That's 1-1 in games. I don't think that is... no, yeah, they haven't ended game 3. Navi's currently up by 1 with some 1 minute, 10 seconds still to go. And Dig seems to be having a pretty much a walk in the park here versus Ricks. They're currently 5-0 in their game 3, and they're up 2-0. So they're looking to clean sweep this one.
Okay.
But yeah, a lot of goals. A lot of goals all around.
Yeah,
Thank you very much, Rob.
8 matches going on at once, there's always going to be plenty. Good games going on at once as well. So many intriguing places to watch. If you want to watch any of these series in full, other than this one, please, genuinely, truly, you have our blessing. Feel free to go and check out some of these team streams. You can root for them. You can really get a feel of how each org wants to present themselves on the big stage. Are they serious? Are they fun? Is it a viewing party? Is it proper casting, you know? So go and experiment, go and watch them all. But if you want to stay right here, we're going to see if Luminosity Gaming can switch things up. And to be fair, going into game 4, they look faster and they're playing more on the front foot.
Yeah, they're playing confidently. You can just see here, you know, Cash was up for that instantly. They're trusting their instinct and going for the play, and just seeing a little bit too much stop-start from Luminosity. They're not keeping up with the speed of play. It feels like they haven't quite got a read on the play just yet. And it could be all sorts of reasons. You know, they could be feeling a little bit tired, a little bit lethargic. Maybe they haven't quite got going yet. You know, maybe they didn't warm up properly. There's all sorts of reasons for that. So don't count Luminosity out just yet. But as they get more settled into the day, we might see them reaching the full speed that we know they're capable of.
I've just seen Cash come off his own sort of goal lip, the crossbar, I guess, but the corner of it, and then turn that into a delayed dodge because he still had his dodge, and he connected with the ball perfectly. So I'm fanboying over Cash a little bit so far in that series. It's up to Luminosity to change that and change the conversation, because right now all they're doing is more of that dogged defense as Tox comes in underneath Arju. A decent touch, and now they've got a chance to move forwards. Tox is rotating backwards, though, so it's Atomic all by himself. Ixo was leaving the ball, and they just need to move forward as a pack more. They seem reluctant to really take the fight to Misfits, and if you're doing that, eventually, with the quality they have, they will break through you. Where is this second man for Luminosity Gaming?
Yeah, they're dribbling a bit too much. They're trying to take control of it and then outplay the whole team. And you just can't do that in the current level of Rocket League that there is. You know, there's too much strength in the second person covering behind the challenger, you know? If it fails, we've got so many people who can cover options behind, to the side. If the challenge is won, if the challenge is lost, we see double commits and they don't tend to lead to goals against anymore because players recover so fast. They're so efficient with their movement. So we need to see better outplays from Luminosity than just solo dribble plays.
That's better. That little slowdown from Atomic is going to mean that some angle is generated. In comes Ixo, and one shift of pace is all it takes right here for that. Everything they needed.
Yeah, you can just see the outplay, so creative with the mechanics, using the double jump to reposition the car in the air dribble, sending it a little bit further across, and Ixo positioned aggressively on the opposite side, trying to play to score a goal for the first time. I think previously we'd have seen Atomic forced to go alone there by Luminosity, but they're finally taking those risks, trying to break him down, and that puts Luminosity ahead. I hadn't even realized half the game has already gone.
Yeah. It's gone really quick.
So much was in the neutral game here, a very low shooting game already, only 7 shots across the board in the first half of this game. So, the team's being very smart in the neutral game, not overcommitting too much. But we do need to now start seeing those risks being taken from Misfits too to create opportunities. As Cash, solo play, takes it to the backboard, disrupts Atomic's clear, which does put it in possession of Matane. He's now going to try and center it for his team. But that's going to go back in favor of Luminosity as RG tries to take control. But again, they just haven't got any strong possession right there.
Yeah, and that's where Luminosity, when they have this 1-0 lead, they do come into it from a position of strength. There's a miss there. Arju, one touch, then the second one. Ixo has to clean up. Arju had a couple of bites of the cherry right there. Neither of them proved fruitful. Now Cash can have a go. He's got a flip reset. He goes for a second one as well as Arju flies in to complete the 50-50. Luminosity on the back foot. They are comfortable there for large swathes of gameplay. Minute and 25 seconds left. Is that going to be long enough for Misfits to break through them? Not yet, especially as Tox is coming forward for a now rare foray into the orange half of the pitch. Ixo shows what he can do. Such a good mechanical player in his own right as well. Haven't seen too much of it in this series, and that touch is a little bit wayward, but all they're trying to do is swallow some seconds off the clock. Misfits, they need to get control of this ball. They need to do it quickly, and they need a bump or a demo, probably from Cash, because he is loving playing off the ball this series to break Luminosity down.
You can just see the difference in Cash's clearing versus Luminosity's. Luminosity's clear goes in favor of Misfits, whereas Cash's clear just there, he's the one to follow it up afterwards. Such a good awareness of where the space is in the defense, so he can find a second touch himself. 40 seconds left here. Luminosity don't need to score a goal, but I'm sure based off of what they've seen from Misfits, they'll want to get that goal ahead so they can start feeling a bit more comfortable, because Cash on the ball is dangerous as he's centering it here. Ixo trying to defend alone. That ball is going to be on the goal line. Saved away by Atomic and Tox. Luminosity survived. They're not out of it yet. Ball on the goal line. Tox away. Cash sticking with it. Centers it once again. Atomic up fast and clears it away. What defense from Luminosity Gaming.
Yeah, but Misfits are going to come at least one more time. Look at Arju, such a quick rotation, spins on a sixpence. He tries to set up Matane. It's another great save from Atomic. Now Cash is coming in, 0 seconds, Tox saves. Matane is going to catch this one though until Tox charges down. Arju can't quite reach it. Luminosity grind their way to their second game of the series.
Come on, score more than one goal, Luminosity.
They've got one every game.
You're putting it on the reliance of those goal line saves that are so risky. All it takes is a better shot, a better outplay, and you can't rely on that goal line defense. But in this occasion, it does work out. Luminosity take another 1-0 victory as Misfits held to a clean sheet.
I mean, that's a lovely play there from Atomic to set up Ixo, but Arju was so close there. I mean, Orb, you're watching about a million games at once, but surely your eye was just being drawn to this series, thinking, surely Misfits are about to score, surely.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I can still hear you guys full blast. So as soon as you guys go crazy, I'm just like, I snap over to this monitor. I'm like, what's going on here? I mean, so many close chances in the end. I'm just making comparisons to, let's see here. Queso versus Guild. They're 2-1 in games. Queso scored with 8 seconds left. It was looking like it was going to go to for sure overtime. But that's all it takes. 1 goal with 8 seconds left, and they snag game number 3. I was also looking here. Zero Nation versus Vitality. They are currently, let's see. Zero Nation is up 2-1 in games, and they're currently up, let's see, Vitality's up 2-1 in game number 4.
I mean, Zero Nation 2-0 against Vitality so far in this split, so they're probably the favorite in that series, which seems like an odd thing to say, but our focus, as we keep saying, is right here, right now, between Luminosity Gaming and Misfits. Misfits are trying to change what happened in that spring final regional when they had it all in their own hands and ended up bombing 0-3 in the Swiss. And two of the teams they went up against, Dragon and lost to, one of them was SK Gaming, who now are Luminosity, of course, and the other one was Cooks' Minions. So history is in big danger of repeating itself. The question is, can Misfits find a way past this, we'll say, determined Luminosity team?
That was brilliant outplay from Ixo. They're just sending it off the backboard, instantly switching over to the demo, took away the keeper, but Atomic coming in with too weak a shot. He double jumped at it, which made it very predictable for the goal line defense. But you say about this team, formerly SK, this is one of the few teams in this split that had a roster move. You know, most teams stuck together after the full split in Europe, whereas this was the team that we were excited to watch, see how they did once they gained Atomic, because he's definitely been one of the best players of the last year or two. And so now we've got to see if he can prove that here. But, you know, he's been a bit quiet, missed a few shots in this series so far. If he steps up in this final game, I'm sure Misfits are going to be scared of him. You know, so far it looks like Luminosity are playing the more creative game in this one so far. You know, any moment Misfits seem to be able to create a goal out of nowhere. I say Misfits, Cash in particular creates a goal out of nowhere.
Yeah, I mean, there's a bit of spice here as well, of course. Ixo up against his old team in Arju and Matane, back when they were Galaxy Racer. So, you know, those guys, a point to prove perhaps, and Cash, he's got a point to prove, and he's just done it. It's 1-0 Misfits.
Yeah, side flip from Atomic. Arju flicking it up, Matane coming in, continuing the play, and that was a full team play there from Misfits. Every player just keeping that ball moving forward, taking player after player out of Luminosity Gaming. No one able to come back and block that Cash shot. And this is concerning now for Luminosity because they've not been able to score more than one goal in any of these games. And that would essentially mean they lose this one.
I mean, they've only taken one shot. Both teams have. You know, you're talking about the neutral game. It is a traditionally nervy game 5. One shot for Atomic, and then that one we just saw from Cash is all that we have had as far as the highlight reel goes so far in this 5th game. But any second can always turn into blood and thunder. Well, that's over Atomic. That's to the backboard as well. And Arju squeezes it home.
Yeah, Atomic not looking very confident as the third here today, just not going up for the balls that he can win. And you can just see they're having to read that touch from Arju. Genius from Arju to send it high, take out the final defender. And that puts them now 2 goals ahead. Atomic needs to get his confidence up right here, as he's not been flying for those balls, knowing that he can beat anyone to it if he goes as fast as possible.
And he's such a good player as well. He does just need the tonic of hearing your teammates say, it's fine. That's all he needs. How is the communication from Luminosity Gaming? It's, you know, been a bit of a disappointing performance from them all round. Maybe a bump from Atomic on Cash is what he needs to get himself back in the game, but Cash manages to avoid it. And now Misfits have to do some defending of their own with Arju on that backboard. Just delays his flip, gets it over Ixo. But Tox was arriving. Matane has missed. There is a pass there, maybe. Tox tries to squeeze it past Cash at the near post. A good decision, mixing things up. But unfortunately for that, on that occasion, not quite the right one. This is better from Luminosity. It feels like that second goal against them has just shaken some life into them.
It has, but I've just jumped on board with Atomic just to see how he looks compared to normal, and he's very rushed with his decisions. When he's going, he's double jumping instantly, and it takes away all of his options. Just there, he could center it to Ixo, but the moment he double jumps, Ixo has to try and beat a defender who's got as good a read on that ball as he does. So we need to see a little bit more of that finer control from Atomic to really create that guessing situation for the defense, as we see Ixo centering at Matane. What a recovery off the back wall.
Yeah, what a save that was from Matane. He didn't waste his dodge. He just kept his car straight. And wow, Arju, what a flick that was. Actually, too much power for the onrushing Cash, but it still terrifies the heck out of your opponents when you can fling the ball with such speed and precision. So tries to go underneath Cash. It's still smart from Luminosity, but still Misfits managing to defend. Cash is trying to beat Tox in this race, and then the pinch does in the end come in. I think it was Arju. There's a pass there to Tox if it can be found. Not quite. Ixo's there. Wants to follow it up. Luminosity can't quite get there. Atomic surely is going to score this time, and he does. And he sets up the grandstand finish.
Great clear from Ixo. Matane trying to disrupt it, but it just goes straight back into the possession of Ixo as he breaks down the full defense, leaving it on a plate for Atomic as he comes in and sends it home on the empty net. A minute and a bit left here for Luminosity to try and equalize. We haven't seen them score more than 1 goal yet in a single game, so they really need to pull out something magical here for themselves.
Oh, it's so close there. Arju was just watching, and Matane's touch just rolled over. Still the pressure comes on. What I would say as well about that last goal is if there was one Luminosity player you could pick to score, it would be Atomic. He needed that So is that just going to shake him up? Is he going to start playing to the standards that we know he can? Here he is on the ball right now. He goes for the instant shot. This demo comes in as well. Cash was alert to it all, but Luminosity will keep on the attack. The demo's flying in. Atomic behind this one. Is a pass or a shot? Another demo. Tox has just got the devil in him right now, going for absolutely everybody. Ixo to the backboard. Misfits are going to have to see this one away. And Luminosity Gaming, I'm pleased to say, are not going to make it easy for them.
Yeah, both Ixo and Tox, after they've made their play, following through for those demos. The rotation we saw out of Com, the North American regional winners, he would always go for those follow-through bumps, and it's so dangerous. But right here, they've just run out of steam. No one's got possession on Luminosity Gaming. It's all in Misfits' favor.
They've got absolutely nothing.
Just can't take control here as that ball's going to go far enough away. Misfits don't touch the ground, and Misfits take our first series in Game 5. What a performance from them. Luminosity just not quite able to get the firepower needed to overcome the creativity of Misfits.
I feel like Misfits Gaming right now, in their comms, it won't be cheering, it won't be celebrating, it won't be like, come on, let's go or anything. It'll just be phew. That is a series that they really should not be losing. On the day, they were the much better team. I think credit to Luminosity for taking that one to 5 and showing that they can fight when clearly they're not at the races on the day. So few. Which other teams are saying few right now, Orb?
I think I'm saying few, jumping around all these different games and all these different team streams. Chat, don't forget, okay, different team streams going on for every single team in here. So if you want